a bit of traffic with people coming in, so I think we can start. So just briefly, I'm Katie Mashile. I'll be the moderator for this afternoon's session. It's such a pleasure for me to be here, and thank you all for making the time. I won't be taking too much of your time with introductions of who I am, but I do want to say that if you do want to introduce yourself, let's please use the chat room. Share who you are, what you do, and what it is that your business or organization offers. Let us make this as interactive as possible through the chat room. As we can all imagine, it is almost impossible for everyone to get a chance to speak and elaborately explain what we all do in 2 hours. So throughout the 2 hours, the chat room is yours. Please feel free to introduce yourself there. And I also briefly mentioned that LWA has a marketplace called Vusa, where you can actually advertise your services and products. It's a platform that is going to be relaunched and will basically, I've been saying this all week last week, it will act like Take a Lot for us, by us, in that it's a platform for African businesses to advertise to African consumers. So yeah, without any further explanations from my side, I would like to ask Mrs. Mkunu to give us a word of welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Katie, and thank you. I think let me just welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this meeting. It's a B2B, you know, for those who know Leading Women of Africa, we are there to connect Africa, to connect people from every country of Africa so that we can do business. We know that our aim is always to really create that networking for Africans to trade amongst themselves, for Africans to do business amongst themselves, and that's what we've been doing for years for those who know us. But also we know that any development cannot happen in isolation. So we have global partners that actually are interested to deal with other Africans, with you know, businessmen and women from Africa. That in a nutshell what we do, and we welcome you again. Like Ms. Katie said, we are preparing a brilliant marketplace, a virtual marketplace, where you will be able to promote your product, to showcase your services, and also to promote your projects. So in this meeting this afternoon, we have people from basically all Africa, but I think let just me highlight the delegation that we welcome in Cape Town. They came to attend the Africa Week, the Africa Day in Cape Town, and the head of the delegation is here, Mr. Paul Marie Jeji. He will be sharing a word or two shortly, you know, but we would like to welcome them in Cape Town. Welcome them in South Africa. And those who are joining us from other parts of Africa, you are welcome too. You are welcome. Thank you for joining us, because this is really the African marketplace that we always create. And by the way, if you do not know, we do host these kind of meetings every month. So please, you know, keep in touch, stay in touch, visit one of our social media. We are always active every month. We do have activities through our platform. And let me just actually introduce you something for women that will happen this coming Thursday. We have this women event, a monthly women event that we call The Future is Female. So if you are a female here, please join this coming Thursday, and you will get to know other women founders, other women, founders, other women, women in business from across the continent. We do this kind of networking. And on the B2B side, we also host this kind of event, whether face-to-face or virtually. We host this on a regular basis. We are here to service Africa. We are here to service businesses in Africa. and our global partner. Like our motto says, we are here to network with men and women in Africa and our global partners with the aim that we want to bring more investors to Africa. We want to bring more partners to Africa. As Africans, we need to promote inter-African trade. So that's who we are, and thank you so much. Ms. Kedi, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Mukunu, for the warm welcome. I believe everyone is welcome. So I'll reiterate again, please, on the chat, let us know your name, the country that you're from, the name of your organization, and what it is that you offer. Let us make this an interactive space. I think everyone at this point is fatigued with Zoom, so we can just try our best to make it as personal as possible by introducing ourselves in the chat. But yeah, as we move forward now, I'm actually going to ask Mr. Paul Marie JG to please come also and share a word of welcome. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kedi. I'm JG Paul Marie, like you said. I'm CEO of Amendla, a company of advertising and culture. I'm also the head of the delegation of Averian, and first of all, I would like to thank Madeleine and John through Femina Group and LWA for the opportunities they offer to African entrepreneurs to exchange and develop an African that needs to be united, and this month dedicated to Africa, Indeed, it's all together that we can be strong for our continent. Since I've been I come in regularly in South Africa for 2 years, I've realized how important it is for African to be united. So because Africa is a great land of opportunities that we must promote. It's all I can do for now. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Kadi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And swiftly, I'll actually hand over to Mr. John Mukunu, as he was already mentioned. Over to you, sir.
I think John is struggling to join in. Maybe you can skip him for now.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's there. He's there. Sorry.
All right. Hello, Africa. And excited that after COVID-19, Africa is able to bring all its children together in Cape Town, South Africa. Really, it's a miracle because really, who did believe that we can, the soonest possible, come to our feet and choose the Cape Town, the mother city, to do business with our fellow African. I just want to leave you with this. Africa now is estimated to have 1.3 billion people, 1.3 billion consumers, a very huge market. My question to you is, what Africa will sell to Africa? Think about it. 1.3 billion consumer. So if African don't find anything to sell to ourselves, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will take the opportunity. So here is the opportunity for us as an African to sell whatever you have in $1 only to 1.3 billion. Then you are a billionaire. Think about it. So we will continue to create such a platform to the younger generation, to the young ladies, young men, young entrepreneurs, to get this platform as a starting point of entrepreneurship. And the good news is you are trading between African and Africa. African and African. We speak almost the same economic dynamic. We have the same economic situation. We want to become one Africa prosperous for all. So this is an opportunity for us to come together to exchange, to build partnership, to grow new markets. And if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it for us. So really, I want to welcome everyone, to seize the opportunity and maximize the opportunity, and let's change Africa for the best. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mkunu. I think what stood out for me from what you said is that I could make 1.3 billion from just selling to every African. So that makes me very excited because we do have some great opportunities. Again, I think maybe for the last time, I will say for those who just came in, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what it is that your organization does. And right now, I will hand over to Mr. James to present to us a bit more on funding and what their organization does. So for the next 15 minutes or so, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kay. And my business partner, Keith's here on the call as well. So hopefully between the two of us, we can answer any questions. Basically, what we do is assist small businesses, particularly in Africa, with funding. There are 3 types of funding that we can assist with. 4 for those in South Africa. If we start at the first one, the one we've been doing for the last 20, 25 years, that's loan funding, unsecured loan funding from $10 million and upwards. These funders require a comprehensive bankable business plan so that they can understand what the risks are and do their due diligence prior to giving the loan. The reason it's unsecured, and I'm sure if you offered them security, they would be happy to take it, but their logic is that they neither have the manpower nor the intent to go around foreclosing on their clients. So they're not approaching it saying, when this business fails, what do they have to take away from the client? They're saying, well, if we think the business is going to fail, we're not going to lend you the money. So it's a much clearer thing aligned to the clients, but it does mean that there's a lot of work involved in writing that bankable business plan. The second type of funding on there is something we introduced earlier this year. We've partnered with an equity investment company, and they will do the funding with much less in the way of a business plan. We call it a prospectus, or it could be called a pitch deck, or on there, think Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. You're basically giving some information across to the funder. They will come back with more questions, and it'll go backwards and forwards in an interactive way. Unlike the loan funder that's making their decision primarily on the documents being submitted to them. And the downside on there is that requires you to sell some shares in your company to the investor. That can be an issue in South Africa because it means that you can't be level 1 BEE because you've now got a foreign investor. But in many industries, that's not a major issue. Third type of funding is where somebody's importing goods, and this actually could be anywhere around the world, where they're importing goods. And the example I give is somebody wanting to import goods from China, say they're importing bathroom fittings. They don't want to pay for the container of bathroom fittings until it's cleared customs to make sure that they've really got bathroom fittings, not bricks. Yet the Chinese don't want to release the goods because they're worried that they're not going to get paid. So our funder bridges the gap between the two. They issue either an LC or an SBLC or a performance bond on there, depending on the requirements. We've tied up end of last year. We've had people asking for this for a couple of decades and so forth, but the prices have always been prohibitive. Stupid amounts like 14%, and you can't absorb that into the profit margins on a deal. But this issuer starts at 3.5% for a 90-day letter of credit, site letter of credit. So that's doable to absorb that into the profit margins of the transaction. In fact, it's probably better value for the company to keep that money in their accounts rather than having prepaid the supplier or put it into an escrow account, and then they can continue using their money in their business. Maybe the best way to think about it is it's effectively an insurance policy to the supplier, ensuring that they will get paid. If the buyer doesn't pay for it, then the issuer of the letter of credit will pay for it. And the fourth funding option is only available in South Africa, I'm afraid, from South African South African purchase orders. They need to be issued and paid for in South Africa, but they can be for goods that are being purchased anywhere in the world. And we've done several where the client has got a government purchase order, they're buying electronic goods or vehicles or whatever in China. They import the stuff in, and the funder will actually pay the supplier over in China and pay all the transport costs, etc. And then at the end of the day, they share in the profits that out of that transaction. The nice thing is it's transaction by transaction, so you're not committing to do every deal as they come along, so you can pick and choose. It's not like a bank loan or a bank facility where typically they tie it up like overdraft on there, and you need to handle that sort of thing, security. It's specifically targeted growing. They don't have the backing to be able to do the purchase orders, but they can get into the market by individual transactional funding. And the growth route is for them to move across into the traditional banking sector and get cheaper finance from the bank. But if they then come along with another bigger order as they grow, then they can reuse this facility again. Very quickly covered through. Keith, did I miss anything?
Just to pick up on it, I'll give you some background. Both James and I are from Cassenbar. I lived in South Africa for 40 years, James for 33 years. We're currently resident in UK. If you go into the chat room, I don't mind it, but if you go to the top. Okay, shall I carry on?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so if you go to our homepage and scroll down, you'll find a value proposition. James has just touched on a few items that we work with, our services, but you'll find a whole list of items that we can help clients with. James also talking of the purchase order funding, that also goes to helping clients with purchasing equipment and vehicles and tools, etc., towards the PO. And it's on a case-by-case basis, like James says. The other interesting part of our stuff that we do is that we are working closely with UK companies and African companies so they can join into each other's country. So we attended last year in October a thing called Unlock Africa, which was run by Africa House in London. And James and I were invited down there as VIP guests. And our role is one of a conduit to introduce African countries or companies into the UK market and also into Europe, if you so wish to go there, and also to bring them down into Africa. With our time spent in Africa, we know quite a bit about South Africa. We know all the do's and the don'ts and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And also, what we've done is we met dignitaries at this function. It was held in London at the House of Commons in October. We met dignitaries from most of the African countries, business leaders, etc. And our role is as a conduit to be able to help companies wanting to enter these markets. And what we've done is we've agreed a package with the people where we'll retain our services to help companies put together their requirements. And what we do is we offer a 20-hour package. That's not very much. It sounds a lot, but 20 hours to put your new business venture together is not long at all. But we kick off with a 2-hour mini workshop where we work with the potential client and understand what they're wanting to do, where they're wanting to do it, how they see that they want to do it, and we'll guide them and we'll unpack the opportunity to take it forward. Hopefully at the end of that 2-hour session, we'll have a way forward and we know what documentation's needed. Are they needing contracts? Are they needing shareholders agreements? Are they needing a partner in that country? What are they wanting to do? You know, one of the classics is when a company in the UK says, I want to export into Africa, and Africa says, we don't want you to export into Africa because we want local representation in Africa. So, you know, there's this basic stuff. So those are the type of things that we cover. If you have any questions, like I said, you'll find our details on the chat, 1441, and you can contact either James or myself, and we're happy to have a Zoom call. We call it a half-hour coffee chat, you know, where we get together and chat about what you want to do and see if we can assist you. I hope that's enlightened.
All I would add to that is if you are contacting us directly, please mention that you've come via LWA so that we can keep Madeleine and her colleagues abreast of the fact that the something's progressing forward from these links and so forth on there.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody to feel that there's circumvention, because that's what kills a lot of deals in Africa, is valid or not, people end up feeling that they've been cut out, and we always ensure that that's not happening.
But please go and have a look at our website. It's www.katzenbar.co.za or .co.uk. You can look at both. You'll find us on LinkedIn as well, etc. Any questions, guys? Or
any questions now, or will the people come back to us later?
We have I almost said a few minutes, a couple of minutes for people to ask questions. So what we can do is we are going to open up questions now, but the best thing to do, I think, is type your question in the chat so that we can get through more questions that way. But if you have a pressing question that you want to ask live, please raise your hand and I'll be able to note and give you an opportunity to ask. But if you have a question right now, please start typing your questions in the chat.
Well, James, we were either that good or they're not interested.
Oh, we just spoke too quickly.
Something like that.
I think there's a question here. Are there any industries that you're keenly interested in? That question comes up very frequently. Pretty much we can cover any industry across any country worldwide. That's obviously a little bit glib, in that there are some countries and some industries that the funders are not going to be keen on doing. For example, if you wanted to do a housing project in Central African Republic, it would probably be very difficult to motivate. But if you were doing a gold mine in CAR, then obviously that's where you need to go, because that's where God put the gold. There are other funders that have preferences in some areas and not others. One of our equity investor group doesn't fund education, schools and universities on there, yet loan funders are very happy with that. Conversely, our loan funders wouldn't fund the next app or that type of thing, but our equity investors are very happy funding it. We had one, for example, which is an electric vehicle app for actually over the different conflicting electric vehicle charging stations, which have all got different apps and different billing points and so forth on there. And they're going to get some of their own charging stations, some of their own vehicles to rent, but fundamentally there's an app behind it. Now, our loan funders would say that was far too early stage and they wouldn't get involved in it. They'd want to see the app already working on there, but the equity investors think this is brilliant. It's a way for them to get in early and take shares in that company and grow with the company.
We have a second question, James. Do we fund agribusiness?
Yes and no on both sides. Mainly hesitancy, typically fund open field agriculture. For a field full of cows, a field full of sugarcane or wheat. For the loan funders, they're worried about that because of disease and pests on there. But the equity investors are more attracted to that. But if you're looking at agri-processing, if you're looking at controlled environment like hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming, etc., yes, all the funders are interested in doing that. And anything that's green is very topical post COP26. So anything that's got a green aspect to it, and obviously farming in a sustainable manner falls into that.
Okay, the next question is about construction. Where there's a risk, e.g. construction, would you consider invoice discounting? We don't consider construction to be a risk. It's bricks and mortar. It's good, solid stuff. You can do loan funding against it. You can do equity investment against it. Invoice discounting, we have got connections to companies that do invoice discounting, but we don't actively push it, do we, James?
No. In fact, there's a strange thing on that question. Funding would tend to be upfront, whereas invoice discounting means you've already done the job and
Yes.
You're trying to collect the money in sooner than your customer is paying. So invoice discounting would be where the fundamental requirement, let's put it this way, fundamental requirement for invoice discounting is you must have a proof of delivery. So you've got to have completed the job, whether that's you've delivered and handed over the goods and you've got a signed receipt for the goods, or you've got to sign off for the work done, like you're mentioning on construction here. You've built the wall and the wall signed off and they say, put it through for payment. So invoice discounting is just bringing the payment day forward. Where we're talking about business funding, it tends to be more front end than that. You haven't started building the house yet, and you're getting the funding to build the house.
Okay. That's about it, I think, KD.
Yeah, I think that is it. I just want to ask, I guess this is maybe a bit selfish. So I know a lot of young people with very limited business experience, but they are entrepreneurial at heart. So do you mainly offer funding for established businesses or even for a person who is at idea phase?
I would say if you categorized it, a majority of the funding is actually for startups. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's a youth startup, but we were just talking about construction. The normal way of doing construction would be to ring fence that property as a new company. So effectively, that means it's a startup on there. If you're doing a new shopping mall, this might be the 20th shopping mall that you've built, but it's probably being done into a brand new company. So that you haven't got risks and liabilities carried across to your existing premises. You've possibly got different bunch of shareholders on the new shopping mall, so it's on there. Youth is not a thing to hold back on, particularly when you describe
not a deterrent.
Yes, not a deterrent on the thing, particularly when it's described the way they tend to do now is up to 35. When I was 35, I did not consider myself young. I must have been at my age now. I consider 35 as being young, but you know.
I think also, James, just to butt in, is that when we're talking to people about potential loan funding, we're looking for certain things. We're looking for the knowledge of what they want to do, the understanding of what their project is. We're looking for the passion that's what they want to do. Don't just come to us and say, well, I'd like someone to give me $100 million and I think I can do something with it, because that's not entrepreneurial. If you've got a passion, if you've got a knowledge of what you want to do and you've got the drive, we're happy to talk to you and we'll guide you that way. Madeline's been on some of our workshops and she can tell you people exactly what goes on. They are robust sessions. They're not training. It's interactive. It's there to find out what you as the client wants to do. And we're happy to hold them. And most of the clients come out going, well, I really enjoyed that. And they come out smiling, even though we've battered them with all the questions, and we've actually gone at them and said, well, why do you want to do that? And we've quizzed them. But at the end of the day, if they've got the knowledge and the passion and the understanding, then they can move forward, because they'll need that. When you go and speak to loan funders, there are... Sorry. Whoops.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So when you talk to loan funders, there are fundamental things that you must have. One of them is good timekeeping, so you've got to be there on time. The second one is you've got to know your business inside out. They're looking for passion, and they look for James and I to make sure that we've covered all those before we present their documentation, which is the BBP, the Bankable Business Plan. And so we offer people the opportunity to have a workshop with us. It's a 3-4 hour intensive session. We say 3-4 hours, it's always 4 hours, if not more. And it's robust, it's intense, but at the end of it, you come out of it and you know exactly the way forward. Whether that is, yes, I can do the business plan on my own, or yes, I want you to help me, Keith and James, to write this business plan, or actually I need to go and put my thinking cap on and do a bit more work. You know, the opportunity is there. And sorry, James?
This raises an important thing, because even if you're going through the equity investor route, and maybe even more so if you're going through the equity investor route, you're going to have questions thrown at you by the investor. And if the investor comes away from that conversation feeling that they know more about your business than you do, you're not going to get the money. And quite honestly, that's true if you went along to your local retail bank in the high street. If you go and sit in front of the loan officer and the loan officer's asking you questions they know the answer to and you don't know the answer to, they're also not going to recommend you through to their management for funding.
Yeah.
And I think this is a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have. They go in without actually having thought through, maybe discuss with friends and family, all of the type of questions that could get asked to them. They go through on a, well, let's hope it runs this way. You know, and like any type of interview, you know, even if it's an interview for a job, you go in there, they're going to ask you questions that are curveballs, and you need to be able to handle those and answer them when you're there. So preparation and being on time, as Keith said, are really critical. The funders, the best one in the world, they don't work on African time. You know, you can't tell them, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'm only 10 minutes late for the meeting. They see that as a lack of courtesy. And even if they smile at you in the meeting, they've already put a cross against your application. So make sure you're on time, make sure that you're prepared for the stuff. Take notes. I've never seen somebody come along and say you're not allowed to bring a pencil and paper. Even if you go to your bank manager to take pencil and paper and say, it's a very good question, let me check that out properly and I'll come back to you. Make a note of it.
We've now taken over half an hour of their time, James, for a 10-minute intro. Sorry about that, KD.
No, it's totally fine. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys.
I think if there are no other questions, we'll just move along from that. But just to reiterate to everyone, if you do want more information, please go through Leading Women of Africa. And yeah, I will definitely be getting a workshop with my team. And yeah, hopefully we'll be getting a lot of money so that we can service those 1.3 billion Africans.
We look forward to working with you, Katie. Not a problem. I'm going to hold you to that.
Thank you so much, sir. You will be
Please call us Keith and James, by the way. That's fine. We're too long in the tooth for Mr. Peters and Mr. Basden. So Keith and James. Madeline knows that. Sorry.
It's not a problem.
Okay, guys, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, there was a hand, I think, from Gloria.
I'm sorry, I did not. I think I must have missed it.
Gloria, did we cover what you were going to ask?
We're still here, yeah?
Okay. Yes, please.
Gloria, what was your question?
Good afternoon. Okay,
Afternoon.
I would like to find out concerning funding, which you spoke about, concerning the movie industry here in Nigeria, which is a growing industry in Africa, outside South Africa, which I'm sure you are aware of. I would like
Yes.
to know, how do you do, if there is room for funding for that? And I'm sure you would have watched a lot of Nigerian movies, and you see they're actually making a lot of
I haven't watched a single Nigerian movie, I
Oh,
have to say.
I'm shocked. You need
But
to, you will need
and
to.
Bollywood, and then Nigeria
Nollywood,
coming
yes.
shortly after that.
Yes.
A lot of local content movies being done. I think you probably find that that would be most attractive to an equity investor rather than a loan funder. It would be very difficult to motivate that the movie you're planning to do is going to be a success. The very nature of movies is that they do tend to be a bit speculative on there, and that would tend to align more with an equity investor. If you've got something that's got an obvious track record, you're on season 10 or something like that of something with 9 existing seasons, then yes, that could be done through loan funding. But the chances are that your local banks and local businessmen are climbing over themselves to actually fund it anyhow. And by the way, when I said businessmen, I don't mean that to be not women. It was just a generic term. Your local business women are climbing over themselves to fund your project. So it would probably be more on the equity funding, with an investor taking shares in the company. But again, typically those things are ring-fenced, like we were talking on construction. So it would be a startup and ring-fenced around just that movie, that property.
We did do a business plan many years ago, James, for the USA market, didn't we?
We did, and we've got a client that's talking to us at the moment about doing a low budget movie in the US. Not sure whether low budget and movies go well together as wording, because about, but yes, it is possible to do.
Pan out, and we'll see how we can seize that opportunity and get Africa to the world.
I think one thing, I think maybe you've gathered from our feedback on here, if we think something's not going to work, we're going to tell you straight away. There's nothing worse than stringing people along saying, yes, we can look at this, we can do this, and so forth. Keith and I are very forthright, maybe too forthright sometimes. But if something's not going to work, we'll actually say, we don't think this is going to work. These are the reasons we don't think it's going to work. And it may be something you can go back and remodel. We may be wrong, and you take it to somebody else and you get the funding. But there's no point in us saying, yes, it doesn't do our credibility much good, and it wastes time and money and so forth for the people that are asking us for our opinion.
Okay. But we're happy to have a chat. So if you want to go through Madeline, and we can set up a Zoom call.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have to go, folks. I'm sorry, but it's been great seeing you all.
No problem. Thank you so much for your time, Keith and James. Yeah, and thanks for all the questions. If you do have more questions, like I said before, please feel free to send them through to Leading Women of Africa. They'll be able to connect you and rather get the relevant information to you. So right now we'll be moving to the next part and products. So I will just hand over to Ms. Kunu to how this process is going to unfold, and then we will allow 2 minutes for each delegate to share their projects and products.
All right, no, thank you so much. Thank you for that. I think we have Mr. Oliver Fortune that will also, since we are in a space of funding, maybe he can take a few minutes just to introduce his funding model. because he also have a package that he can offer to some of our entrepreneurs. Oliver, you want to come in and say a few minutes? Then after that, we will introduce Mr. Jeji to introduce the mayor of his city, okay? So the mayor of his city will be able to share with us for a few minutes after Mr. Oliver, yeah. So you can, over to you, Katie.
Okay, Ms. Oliver.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madeline, and thank you to the rest of the team. Apologies, the net is a little bit stable, but hopefully you'll be able to, hear me. My name is Oliver Fortune. You could say I'm the CEO and founder of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. Our investment work with a portfolio of 30 spaces. Them are from
UK network was very clear.
And
now they're doing one African. You can't
follow
even
it.
hear.
So Manufacture Fund, they also have health tech as one of their top 5 lists. Renewable energy, including power and solar. Infrastructure development, it's one of the sectors as well. They would like to invest in, as well as oil and gas, agriculture and agro-processing. Our work at the African Innovation is to do investment facilitation and the transaction advisory service. I did put my details on the chat a little bit. I'll repost again. And to reach out to us, we can be able to send you information with regards with the funding that is available. We recently successfully ventured into a $600 million project, which is called Air Cash Invest or Air Cash Finance, to be able to fund
Mr. Oliver? I think
financing from minimum $20,000 in Dubai. Launch
Mr. Oliver
in July, because we are still waiting for the license to operate. Most again financing post your supplying product.
Mr. Oliver, can you hear me? Mr. Oliver? I think if we can just mute him for now so that when he's able to hear, we can maybe just try and ask him to move to a different place to share the information, because it's a bit inaudible from my side. I'm not sure if it's just me. So I think in the meantime, what we can do is we can just move on to Mr. JG, have him introduce the mayor. Well, in the meantime, we can just try and communicate with Mr. Oliver to see if perhaps maybe there's something that can be done to try and
apologies guys, my network was
yeah, is it better now, Mr. Oliver? Can you hear me? Okay, I think let's do that. If we can have the host please mute Mr. Oliver, and then we can just communicate with him via the chat while we allow Mr. JG to introduce the mayor, please. Over to you, Mr. JG.
I would like to introduce you the mayor of Grand Lao, a beautiful city in Ivory Coast. His name is Mr. Nyani Daniel. Okay, you can speak.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Hello. Hello. Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you. Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
But I hear you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Hello? Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we're just going to move forward with the program, and then we'll get back to your presentation.
Okay.
Yes. Just maybe in the meantime, we can try offline to figure out what the signal glitch is and try to fix that while we allow.
Otherwise, I do hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you hear me?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Wonderful. Good. So I can speak now. Can I?
Yes, sir. You may.
Thank you very much. Okay. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I am Daniel Nyani from Grand Laou, which is a small city in Côte d'Ivoire, far from Abidjan to about 125 kilometers. So I wish you will apologize my English. Okay, good. So I thank you very much for giving us this kind of opportunity. As I said, Grand Laou is a small city about 125 kilometers from Abidjan. It's a very nice city, a very peaceful city. It's very green, very beautiful, and people are nice, very nice people. And we also have very good food in Grand Laou. So if you want to have an area where you can rest from Abidjan, which is a very noisy country, where the pollution is high, in Grand Laou, it's peaceful, and you have a nice air to breathe. Okay, so we would like to have a partnership, with many partners on a win-win basis in the agriculture, construction, health, fishing, tourism, beaches, and sports. In terms of agriculture, we produce cocoa, coffee, rubber, palm tree, and we need partners to develop, on a win-win basis, this agriculture, rubber, cocoa, palm tree, and coffee. We also need partners to build hotels, shopping centers, shopping malls, schools, and hospitals. And okay, we also have a need in tourism. We have nice beaches. We have the city itself is a confluence of sea, a river, and a lagoon. This is why we call it the city of three waters: the sea, the river, and a lagoon. As I said, we have nice beaches, so that can help develop nautic sports and all kinds of things that can be done with the sea. With the nice beaches. So to summarize, we are a nice small city. We need partners to develop on a win-win basis on what I have just said. So we thank you, and we're looking forward to welcome any partner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if there are any questions. If you do, in the chat while I hand over back to Mrs. Mukunu to as well.
Are you talking to me?
No, sir. I'm saying if anyone has questions, they can put it in the chat. So while we do introductions, I will just answer the chat and I will be able to. Thank you so much, sir. Mrs. Mukunu?
Yes. No, I think now you can move to B2B. People can introduce themselves, those who want to promote their product, they want to, to talk about what they're doing, what they're selling, what they're looking for. This is the time. So you can just manage it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Before we go there, Ms. Mayor, we have a question that what kind of coffee are you looking for? Is it, I think they asked, is it green beans? I love coffee, but I know nothing about it. But they asked coffee.
Yeah, you know that there are two kinds of coffee, Robusta and Arabica. Robusta is strong, and Arabica is very okay. We produce Robusta in Cote d'Ivoire, and the country, the Cote d'Ivoire country, is I think the second world producer in coffee and the first for cocoa. So we produce very nice cocoa and very nice coffee.
So if I understand correctly, you are producing the coffee and looking for partners on how to export it and sell it.
Well, not to export, how to make a first transformation, instead of selling, of exporting the raw material, we're looking for partners for at least a first transformation. We're looking for partners in terms concerning the rubber. Rubber also, we also produce many quantity of rubber. So we'll also would like to have partners in terms of transforming this product. Yes.
Understood. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So at the moment, I'm going to, I think we'll go on a first come, first serve basis, if that's okay. And we'll just allow for everyone to introduce their products, their projects, and really just share with the other delegates what it is that you do. If anyone wants to go first, you may go. I'll take the liberty of actually going first. So I appreciate the opportunity that everyone is giving me to actually share more on what it is that I do. So I actually come from a company called Tawukhadi Media Consultants. What we mainly do is we work with corporate brands and non-profit organizations to help them get their business out there. So be it through digital marketing, be it through social media, be it through just basically sometimes really rebranding and rebuilding the brand. We work with brands that are established and brands that are. The aim is to really just let people know about it. Because I think one is usually, especially for startups and non-profit organizations, is that the information never gets to the relevant people. For instance, with what the mayor is trying to do, if that information never reaches the right ears, then they will never be a success in that regard. So what we really do is we bridge the gap between the person with the services and the person that needs them, and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's the long and short of what I can say that we do. So if there's anyone else who would like to introduce their business, please go ahead and do so.
Hi, can everybody hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hardly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my name is Itumeleng Bowe. I own a company called Africentric Luxury Experiences. We are predominantly in the travel business. We do incentive travel, travel for corporates into South Africa, Southern Africa. We also cover East Africa, some few countries in East Africa. We do specialized meetings, we handle delegations, we put programs for them and give them access to networks because of our experience in the industry, both in the public and private sectors. We also do luxury travel for leisure travelers, and we specialize in bespoke Christmas or festive decorations for hotels, resorts, public spaces, and retail centers. And we are looking at entering the African market with really great Christmas decorations to come up with innovative decorations for their clients at a very special time of the year. But in terms of travel, we're looking to get into the market, especially in Africa, to put packages for them coming to Southern Africa especially. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Anyone who would like to go next?
Good day, everyone. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon. Yes. I introduce myself. I'm Faith Mabuza. I'm on the road, just in case you hear some sounds. Apologies for that. Owning or founded a company called Faith Care Medicals. We are into the healthcare industry, basically medical consultation and primary health care. What we are looking for at this stage, we are so much in need of funding for establishing medical center. The medical center is actually comprehensive of your pathology unit, your radiology unit, which is quite heavy, and also the dentistry as well. So we are actually also looking to partner with other countries, especially in the rural places where people don't have access of other medical services. So we're looking forward to partner with other people in other countries so that we can re-establish the same idea and we get medical personnel in that area that will be interested to establish it maybe in Cameroon. Then we've got nurses and doctors that will be able to run the practice there. So basically that's what we are all about. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And I think I will just call from the chat some of the businesses that were introduced for you to please share more. I see Itumeleng from Africentric. If you can please share more information, please.
Get my information from a luxury travel company.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay,
I see Muriel. Are you still here? Is Muriel not with us anymore? I'm going to hand over now to, I'm assuming it's a Mr. or Miss Banelenkosi. Banelenkosi, are you still with us?
Yes, hello. My name is Banelenkosi. I'm from Swela Samandlo General Trading. I'm in construction logistics. I also import and export Arabica coffee from Congo and American coffee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll now give to Miss Rose Kabemba.
Hi, my name is Rose Kabemba. I'm an owner of Somona Guest House. We are based in Sandton in Parkmore. We've been operating for 12 years. We are really looking forward to hosting people coming from Africa and anywhere really in the world. So I'm really excited to be part of this talk, and having had also one of my colleagues here talking about travel and things like that. So I'm really excited to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mom. Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Do you
sir?
hear me?
Yes, sir, we
Good.
can hear you.
My name is Mr. Rick Atikra. I'm the general managing of the expert company. Is the society work in the innovation and the research partner to make anything, to make something about innovation technologies. I'm sorry for my English because it's not so great. This is me. We come from Ivory Coast.
Understood. Thank you so much, sir. That was actually good. No problem there. I'm going to now ask, I'm not sure, I'm seeing Lusanda. That's all that I'm seeing. Are you still with us? Okay, it seems they just stepped out. I'm going to then ask, I'm so sorry if I say this wrong, Mr. Abdullahi. I'm assuming it's a Mr. Okay, I'm not sure if you're speaking, your mic is muted. Mr. or Miss Moro Abdullahi? Okay, I'm going to come back and then now I'll give, I'm not sure if I've called you yet, Mpo Nangu. Mpo? Okay, we skip again and we will go to Mr. Rex. This is Rex Catalyze. Okay, again, we will skip to Mr. Miss Sipelo.
Yeah, hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Lovely. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Sipelo Sipasha. I'm based out of Cape Town. It's lovely hearing everyone's experience and expertise. I'm basically involved in the HVAC business, heating and cooling here in Cape Town. I've also got affiliates into the movies and the trading space. So what I'm looking for is basically trading opportunities between South Africa and Ivory Coast, and some of those finance opportunities were very exciting. So I've got the email address to reach out to, as we would like to definitely try and speak to the mayor on that side and see whether we can bring through some South African construction and operating companies to do projects in Ivory Coast. That's me. Thank you.
There's a question for Mr. Banele in the chat. Do you import or export from Ivory Coast? Do you have partners in Ivory Coast and Ghana?
Well, for now, I have partners in Congo and Rwanda. Actually, they own plantation and I take their coffee and bring it to South Africa and make instant coffee and then raw coffee beans. Currently in Cote d'Ivoire, there's no one I'm actually partnering with them. I'm willing to partner with anyone who's willing to work with me.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I hope that the person who asked the question is answered. And then from my side, I think that which I can note and read from my side, is it Miss Vivian Timba?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you are doing well. And sorry for my camera. I think I'm experiencing some problem with the camera. I'm a founder and CEO of Little Steps College and the director of Miss African Culture. Little Steps College is a IFIT institution which is teaching management and finance, plus languages and tourism. And I'm looking forward to expand the institution across Africa for a skill exchange to develop Africa. And we are linking education to culture, which is linked to our platform, which is named Miss African Culture Top Model, where we are promoting culture and entrepreneurship across Africa. And we are looking forward to have more partners across the African continent, as we're going to host a big final in one of the African countries, where we're going to put all African countries to go together to promote African culture and African trade. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I see there are a few participants whose devices or whose accounts are named after devices. So if I haven't called you out and you would like to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Going once, going twice. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Gloria Lemi Johnson. I'm from Nigeria. I run an event. I'm an event planner. I'm a mistress of ceremony. We're into acting, directing. I also work with the Little Steps College for Miss African Culture. What we basically look out for, in our organization, Chapter 45, we look out for opportunities for young actors where they would want to come up and grow in the industry. We help them up. And I would like to partner. An organization spoke about doing bespoke decorations and all that. I think I didn't get your company name, but I would love to talk with you so we see how we can work together and see how we can bring in some of your events, your themes, and all of that into my country, and let's see how we can synergize and work together and do a robust Africa and show Africa to the world, which is what basically we're all about right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I see other people are introducing themselves in the chat, so please do look in the chats and see if there are partnership opportunities. And the state company, please also do share your information in the chat for Ms. Gloria to find your details. So if there is anyone else that I could have missed that would like to introduce themselves. Anybody else? Okay. I'd actually like to go back to Mr. Oliver to see if perhaps he's able to share more. If we still experience some challenges, he did send me a message with more information on what it is that their funding scope looks like. So I can just quickly, briefly share that, and then I will ask Mrs. Mkunu to share their contact details should anyone be interested. So their contact details will be available. You can find them out from LWA. But in the meantime, we'll give it another try. Mr. Oliver. Mr. Oliver, are you here? Okay, I don't know if we just lost him. Mr. Oliver, are you able to speak? You are on mute. Okay, I will just share the information that he had shared with me. Okay, these notes are very confusing, but the funding areas that he mentioned are construction, infrastructure, railways, roads, bridges, harbors, housing, and high-rise buildings, etc., as well as the energy, under which they fund renewable energy, oil and gas, hydropower, power plants, etc. They also fund companies in mining, manufacturing, in capital-intense projects. They have representatives in Ghana, in South Africa, and in the US. He did share contact details should you want to find out more, but he also mentioned that their financial capability is up to 100 billion US dollars. I'm not sure if that's how much they fund up to, or if that's the budget within which they fund. But again, we have their contact details, so should you be interested, right now I will just share the information in the chat, but you can also ask for more information from LWA. So yeah, I think that will be it. If there is no one else, if there are no more introductions, yeah, please do remember that you can inquire about all the mentioned funding opportunities. You can find out more from Leading Women of Africa. And yeah, if you have any other questions for anyone, the meeting is going to remain open for the rest of, for an hour, or for the rest of the afternoon until the meeting time comes until 6 p.m. Central African time. So you can ask questions, you can interact with anyone that you would like to connect more with in the chat or live if you so desire. From my side, I think that is it from my end. I just want to thank you all very much for cooperating with me, for introducing yourselves, and really for giving this this meeting your time. So yeah, I think that's all from me, and I will just ask Ms. Spooner if there's anything else before we go into networking.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much for for moderating the program. I think it was great. Thank you for all the interactions. Yeah, so like Ms. Kelly says, we're gonna leave the room, the meeting room open. There are a lot of chat in the, in a chat box, so people can continue to really scroll up and down and find the information that you need. And on the chat, you will also find our social media links. You want to remain in contact with us, please, follow us on social media. And there's also an email there, so you can remain in contact. Like we said, that we are really active, connecting Africa. And really, I just want to encourage everyone in this place, all the leads, business leads that were here. There's coffee in Cote d'Ivoire, there's someone importing coffee. How can we make sure that African products also have, prominence? How can we try to link with a region in Cote d'Ivoire that is producing one of the best coffees, to try and see how we could actually work together. There are, there's a lady in Johannesburg, they have, she has a B&B or a mini hotel. We are all here, her contacts are on the chat. How can we, next time that you fly to Johannesburg, find her, because that's what networking is all about. There's other people doing so many things, and I think this platform is actually a place where we try to identify who's doing what, so that we can see how we link. There's someone doing tourism, tours, and all that. Next time that you are in Cape Town, please connect with the lady. You know, I'm sure her details are on the chat. Miss Vivian has an academy, you know, so maybe inquire by her. And by the way, Leading Women is actually in partnership with a Little Step College and the Miss African Culture. And yeah, talking about that, we are promoting really the culture and the spirit of entrepreneurship, especially amongst youth. In Africa, and we're going to have a big event in one of the African countries toward the end of the year. Please remain in contact with us. All this information, you will find them on a chat, but also if you remain in contact with us through our social media, you will be kept up to date on what we are doing. Miss Faith Mabuza, she's into medical. And I see a lady, I think in the chat, I saw someone from pharmaceutical in Cote d'Ivoire. You know what? Try to connect. You never know where the synergies will be. So yes, this is the networking. I love also from Nigeria, Gloria, we have, you know, the whole the fast growing movie industry in the world. It is in Nigeria, and we are so privileged to have Gloria with us. You know, there's so many youngsters, they want to enter into the entertainment industry. Well, Gloria is here. If you have a young person or yourself, you are young and you're interested in entertainment industry, well, you know, there is an industry that is growing so fast in Africa. You just never know what you can do. Miss Faith Mabuza, someone is looking for your contact details. Please put them on a chat. So, well, the room will remain open, and please continue to network, put your details there, exchange, continue to chat. We will keep the room open. We will now invite Mr. John Kuno, if he's here, to give a vote of thanks to our audience.
Yeah, thank you, Africa, for responding to our call. And we are very confident from this meeting, something good gonna come in. And remember, Africa will prosper when networking with Africa. This is the time now for us to seize the opportunity. Talking about this is the time for Africa to visit Africa. Come on, guys. Africa is for us. And the sooner that we start visiting Africa, creating, you know, language, you know, discovering beaches and culture, the sooner we're going to make money. Because, like I said, 1 billion Africans all around Africa, discovering Africa is about what? Is about openings, opportunity, and businesses. Don't be so shy to discover your own continent. It's full of beauty. Everything is there. So get connected, and you will find what is really benefit from you. So I just want to thank you for responding to this invitation. From now on, you know, when you need business into Africa, who to find. Exactly. You know, from now on, you understand that if you really want to partner in Africa, who to contact. We are there. Our door are open 24 hours. Give us a call. Speak to us, as we always say. Speak to us, speak to Africa, and you will have the answer. Thank you for coming, and looking forward to meet you next time. God bless you. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Nkuni, you are muted. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, this is now the time. Networking starts here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Someone is looking for Mr. James' contact. Please drop us an email. We'll be able to share his contact with you. Or if you scroll in the chat, you will see James Barden contact, maybe under Keith. I think his partner Keith put his details here. Right. Great. And let the networking begins. Enjoy the rest of your evening. For those who will leave the room, if you are still here, please feel free to network. Thank you so much.